Mike Addick. Thanks. I appreciate you pointing me and let me do this. I like that reading that you just did, and it really lets me know. And it's very, very interesting that it was sort of what I had already picked for the topic, and I had not already read that. But I like what that reading said, and basically what it said is financial well-being always follows spiritual progress. It never precedes it. And I can't put money and things ahead of my recovery, and that's exactly what I picked out of the basic text. This is the 6th edition. When I came in, it was the 3rd, but I'm sure it's all the same, but the pages I'm sure are changed. But this one is page 106. It talks about it here. And NA was my first home, I have to say that. Although I've had timeshares at other fellowships in my tenure here, NA was the first place I ever went to, and it really was the first place and the place I've always felt the most welcome. And I always need to say that out loud because that's a fact. It really is a fact. It says right here, one of the continuing miracles of recovery is becoming a productive member, responsible member of society. We need to tread carefully into areas that expose us to ego-inflating experience, prestige, and manipulation that may be difficult for us. We have found that the way to remain a productive, responsible member of society is to put our recovery first. NA can survive without us, but we cannot survive without NA. And I think that's really important because and we were just outside with the lady, I can't place her name yet. She bought all the supplies, and she was sitting in a nice new car, and she was drinking a $10 Starbucks, and we were talking about how it's amazing how when I'm not throwing all my money away on dope, I can get a nice coffee, but I'm still at a meeting, and I can afford to buy some supplies because we know we want those things to be here for everybody, and those kind of small, minuscule donations are nothing compared to the daily donation I was given, and it was just going out and never coming back. So every donation I give, whether financial or of my own efforts, I think we even say it in one of our readings, it pays back our dividends, and that's the second part. I also wanted to read out of the guiding principle, and understand that this is the very, very new book that just came out, and this talks about and the detail about each one of the 12 traditions. And I can definitely tell you that this would be worthwhile reading to any member that wants to stick around, because knowing the traditions is very important. And what I'm going to read out of is one that dovetails with what I just talked about the basic text. And naturally, when it talked about prestige, some of you already know what tradition I'm going to read out of. It's going to be 6, isn't it? So it talks about it here. It's just a couple of sentences. Although this tradition addresses itself to the groups, the issue it warns us about arises on the personal level. Money, property, and prestige can divert us because each of them can be used to feed self-centeredness. And the basic text early on talks about the spiritual part of our disease is our tremendous self-centeredness that goes along with the mental obsession and the compulsion. So we have a threefold disease here at NA, and this is addressing that the most damaging one, because I can get the big head, is what it's talking about, and I can say, I'm going to put NA on the back burner because I got me a new coffee. And the thing about it is I got to remember from whence I came, and it's talking about it here. It talks about this tradition points us to the very personal investment. And I talked about investment a minute ago. Each of us has in our groups and in our fellowship, our personal practice of humility and anonymity serves the group as much as ourselves. And if you noticed, I was squinting. I don't have my reading glasses. It's so funny that now that I'm over 40, I'll let everybody see me squinting at my phone, but I'll be damned if I'll put some readers on. I mean, if that's not some self-centered behavior, I don't know what is. But the point is that what this is telling me is that when I get in recovery, as far as my experience goes, I got to go into school and stuff, and I've attained certain things in recovery through a lot of luck and, of course, a lot of effort. But my point is that I've been gripped from time to time in my tenure here with the idea that, man, I'm on to bigger and better things, and I'm talking to people with doctorates, and I'm dealing with large sums of money at big Fortune 500 companies. I don't need these people that I've been growing up with, because I came here when I was young. And I really have had to put myself in check with some of that. And interestingly enough, that reading says, don't matter how far you go, we're all one away from the next downfall. And I think that is so important. And what this says is to the newcomer, and that's what this is about. This isn't about somebody like me that's been around for a minute. To the newcomer, what's going to happen, and what this lesson tells me, is that the things that I thought was the problem when I got here, which was, I want that judge to say case dismissed. I want them to give me my license back. I want her to let me back in the crib. I want them to let me see my kid. And believe it or not, those things, when I was early on, I thought those things were my problem. But I'm here to report that if I come to meetings and do what I'm supposed to be doing, those things will rectify themselves relatively quickly. And I'm not talking about 30 days. I'm talking about you got to stay around for the better part of a year, maybe slightly longer, for all those things to fix themselves. I didn't have my license for my first year and a half. But my point is that once those things were fixed, I'm like, oh, we're cool. But you know what? The work's just begun, because I've got to keep doing this so I don't create new situations where the judge has to say case dismissed. And now she's done put me back out because I've let up on my program. And now they've taken my license again. And these patterns that I saw myself repeating, and if I'm the only one that's repeated those kind of patterns, then so be it. But what I'm saying is that when those problems are solved, I need to keep coming, because what I'm going to find is that there were things within me that really caused those problems. And dope was not really the cause of those problems. And the steps can help me with the root cause of those. And it's no wonder that I have a license today. It's no wonder that nobody's threatened me with a lot of things. And it's no wonder that there's no judge holding a gavel over my head. It's because I continue to do these things, regardless of when I get on the big horse and think, oh, I just got me a new chrome lever for my motorcycle. I don't need to go to a meeting. Well, that's some dumb shit, okay? So if you're like me and you think some things just like that, maybe it's not a chrome lever, maybe it's something else. But my point is that after all these years, and how long doesn't matter. This is quality, not quantity. But my point is, after all these years, I still go to a meeting a day. I made 2 yesterday. Now you may say, well, that's too many, Mike. Well, okay. Well, I can tell you, nobody's ever gotten arrested for working the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous. Okay? So I wanted to throw that out as a topic. I didn't read a lot, but I tried to tie it together. And what it basically said is what the daily reading said. And that lets me know that God is in charge of all this. That's what He wanted us to talk about today. That our work has just begun. And I need to keep working so I don't have to repeat the same patterns as I did in the past. And I hope we can keep it on recovery. We don't have to talk about a bunch of war stories, which can happen. But I promise you, if I force myself to find something positive to talk about, I feel more uplifted, and everybody around me gives us something to live up to. So I hope that we take that challenge. I've had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, and I'll pass.